And getting back to, you had mentioned the focus, kind of knowing when to move forward with an idea or when to put it on the back burner. How do you validate between or determine whether it's a great idea that, could possibly be successful, or whether or not it's just another idea? What's the kind of process you take for that?
Yeah. It's a great question. So whenever I start a company, the thing that I focus on, and a guy named Dan Olson wrote, spoke a lot and has written, books on this. I think his book was The Lean Product Playbook, and he has a phrase that I steal a lot, which is that there's the problem space and the solution space. And I think one of the biggest mistakes first-time founders make, and it's usually first-time founders because they learn this the hard way and then you don't make this mistake again, is they jump right into the solution space. They think about a problem and they don't fully understand it, and they jump right into like this beautifully designed solution. And they spend a whole lot of time building this really beautiful thing that no one needs. And it's beautiful and it's amazing. And all their friends say it's awesome, but then no customers actually use it. And the reason why that is because they didn't fully understand the problem space. And so when I start a company, what I try to do is deeply understand the problem space. I spend a ton of time on that, and it's the same thing when I'm launching new products within my prior company, Validately, for example, or my new company. Because whether it's new features or new companies, it doesn't matter. It's the same approach. I do a tremendous amount of user research to try to understand the problem space and why this problem exists, how important it is to solve, and why do the current products in the market not solve these needs. And in some cases, they'll say, "Oh, I didn't know about this product. This actually looks like it does solve my need." And then they'll say, "Okay, well, maybe there's not an opportunity here." But in a lot of cases, when you'll talk to them and they'll say, "Yeah, we've tried that product. It didn't work for us. We tried this other product. It didn't work for us." Great. Why not? Tell me why not. Why is this not working? What is blocking you? And if you do that enough, you'll find you'll really deeply understand the problem space. And then once you get that, once you really think you understand, then the process is a series of prototyping and prototype testing. For validation, I say there's 3 levels of validation that I apply to understanding if I'm working on an important problem and if the solution that we're working on is going in the right direction. The first level is your time commitment. So I will have a hypothesis of who my customer is. I reach out to those personas on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has great kind of targeting. And I send them a very basic message. "Hi, I'm Steven Cohn. I'm a multiple time founder. I'm starting a new company to solve this problem. I'd love to talk to you about it if you're interested." And what I have found with that basic message is, especially I do it through LinkedIn because then they can see like I'm not some spammer, like I'm like a real person that went to Harvard Business School, like a legit human, and not just some spam farm. And I'm a multiple time entrepreneur, and they can see that I have some credibility there, and they're like, actually, this is a problem. And so the first thing I want to know is like, is this a problem significant enough from who I think is my target customer that they're willing to spend 30 minutes of their time talking about the current problem, right? And I have found that process to be very successful. The next level is if they say yes, there's a problem, and then I could show them a prototype. The next level is so time. Then there's social. I call social. So social proof is getting that person taking the next steps, whether if it's a B2B product, internally taking the next steps, if it's a consumer product, potentially other friends, but to get that software installed, to get that software employed within your product, within your company. Okay, so to do that, you got to put your credibility on the line. You got to go to legal to get approval for it. You got to go to your boss to get budget for it, or whatever it is, right? No, if they answer my LinkedIn cold outreach and they take a meeting with me, and then they see a demo of a solution, even if it's a prototype. And if it seems like it's moving in that right direction where they feel like there's value creation for a true problem, that customers will absolutely, even with just a prototype, will take those next steps to be a beta partner for you, because the pain is so great that this thing, if it works, if you could actually make the software to do what this prototype does, awesome, home run. Like it really solves a problem. The third level is budget. So I ask them for your time, I ask them for your social proof, and then I ask you for budget. Can you commit to spending money on, this is the price point. When we go live, you'll have a trial period. Beyond after that trial period, this is the price. Can you commit to paying these price depending upon delivery and a successful pilot? And I think one of the mistakes entrepreneurs make is they don't talk about price, they don't talk about budgets early enough. So I think you want to talk about that up front. You want to understand, is this a $1,000 a month problem, $100 a month problem, a $10,000 a month problem? Like, how big is this problem for you? And that's important because that determines your go-to-market strategy, that determines your scalability, capital raising, all that stuff. So those are the three levels I start. I dig deep on the problem space, understand it. I ask for people's time, then I ask for their social proof, and then I ask for budget. And I do all that even with early stage prototypes or very basic, very basic kind of alpha version of a product.
Okay, fantastic. And so you mentioned something really interesting, which I haven't seen many people do, and that's the budget aspect. How do you go about coming up with a range of where you'd even price a product like this? Like when it's just prototype stage, is it just trial and error, or?
Yeah, it's a great question. I love the conversation of pricing. From my perspective, pricing is probably the topic that the one thing in business that is the easiest thing to change and has the biggest impact on your business metrics. Like, it's just amazing because there's like no developer support needed, right? You just change a number on the website, right? It's super easy. If you have Stripe, you can just change it in the UI. So, but okay, so how do you figure out pricing? So first of all, you can start with looking at competing solutions and where they are. You want to understand pricing, but there's a great blog on pricing called Price Intelligently. And I think they actually just rebranded a little bit, but it used to be Price Intelligently. And they talk a lot about a thing called a value metric. So a value metric is a usage metric that as the customers increase the customer's value increases. Okay. So let me give you I think the quintessential example. MailChimp prices based on the size of your email list, not on sends, not on user seats. I mean, I think on later plans they might have user seats, but the bulk of their pricing is on the size of your email list. The bigger your email list, the higher price point. And there's a slider on their pricing page. So if your email list is 10,000, 15, 20,000, 100,000, whatever. That's a value metric. And what's great about that is every customer that MailChimp has at least one, if not multiple people focused on how do they grow their fees to MailChimp. I mean, they don't even know that's not really what they're focused on. They're focused on growing their email list. But ultimately what they're really doing is by growing their email list, they're growing their fees. And MailChimp has so aligned their price to customer value that customers don't care that they're paying more because they believe they're getting more value. Now they're not pricing based on sends. So you could send as much as you could send every single day, you could send an email, or you could send one email every 3 months. If your list is 10,000 people, it's the same price, right? So MailChimp says, I'm not trying to stop you from using my product. I want you to use as much as possible. No price, as much as you want. But your value metric is total size of your email list, and I'm going to price based on that.